All right, I think we're live. Yes, we are. All right, welcome everyone. It's live at 5, Tuesdays at 5 p.m. You guys know where to find us. We're here. For those of you that are here with us, glad you are here. Sorry, hold on. I need to mute this real quick. There we go. Perfect. All right, so if you're here, say hello. We want to see you in the chat. Let us know how your week is going, how your day is going, if you did something cool over the weekend, anything like that. Just go ahead and check in for us. I'm going to start the chat, make sure we're good to go. All right, looks good. Cool. So I am going to start us off with an announcement. It's actually the one that I made last week, so it's nothing new to you guys. But we are doing Work Hard, Play Harder this year again. So for those of you that are working, either full-time or part-time, and by part-time, we're talking 20 hours a week or more. Then you qualify to go on this trip as long as you work 240 hours during the months of May, June, and July. So we're going to start counting hours next month. So that's pretty soon. And as long as you're able to prove that you're working that amount of time, we take you to an all expenses paid weekend trip to Branson, which is going to be super fun this year. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, get with your coach. If you have any questions, put in the chat. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. And of course, we are still giving out gift cards from those of you who participated last week and the week before, who were able to submit a SMART goal. So for those of you that want to get in, or those of you who have gotten in on that before, we have your cards for you, and we're going to get with you about how to give them to you. So that is all I've got. I'll probably make that announcement a little bit later once we get more people. Hi, Shay. I see that Shay has joined us, so I wanted to say hey to her. And awesome. Lindsay, if you're ready, I will kick it over to you.
Yeah, so I just want to do a quick check-in. If you've made progress on your SMART goal, and I don't know who here has logged in and has made some SMART goals, but if you have logged in, and if you were with us last week and you made a SMART goal and you've made progress on it and you've accomplished it, I want to hear about it. And remember, whenever you achieve your goal, you get $100. So I will be eagerly waiting to hear about your progress.
Yes, love it. Wait, I gotta check and see if I'm unmuted. I am, good. I've made a little bit of progress on mine. I'm actually going to get a table today after this is over. Found one on Facebook Marketplace. Well, yeah, my SMART goal was to get some items in my house before June or by June 1st. So I found a table that I like, Facebook Marketplace. Gonna go all the way to Cersei to get it. That was not my choice, but it's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
and then I bought a chair as well that I'm picking up over the weekend. So those are like the two big items. Everything else I can just kind of get here and there. So I'm doing all right on mine.
Because I'm new. What's the SMART goal?
Ah, oh my gosh, and Ronika is joining us. I'm going to admit her. Okay, so Shay, that's a good question. A SMART goal is a goal that you make very clear and specific. So actually, SMART is an acronym that stands for specific. So it needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable. Let's see, what's the R? It needs to be relevant to you and time-based. So we had a bunch of SMART goals that came out of last week, and there's still time, you know, if you want to set a SMART goal. We had some people say that they needed to finish up some important documents by the end of this month. And so they're going to show that they've done that by the end of this month. We had someone say, and Casey just shared hers about getting furniture. She had a list of items for her place. Since she had a roommate move out recently and she needs to replace those items. So she has the deadline of June 1st to get all of those household items. We had another one that came in about like sticking to a job for like 6 to 12 months before getting a new job and bartending. So acquiring the skills and experience to become a bartender. So a SMART goal is just something specific that you can measure that's relevant to you. It's time-based, which means it has a deadline. We had a bunch of those. I think we had 6 at last week's meeting. And there's still time. And if you want to go back and look at the recording, I know this was recorded for Facebook Live, and we had some presentation slides that go with it. So if you would want to look back and maybe check with them like next week, you want some time to like work on a SMART goal, there's still an opportunity to you earn $20 for one SMART goal. So you give us a goal. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it by? Why is it important to you? And we'll give you $20. And then whenever you accomplish that goal, we'll give you $100. You're muted.
How do I submit the goal, and like where do I go to submit it to let y'all know? Because I already know a goal I need to do because I just got my first place.
I love that you're asking these questions. This is what we want. We want, because part of why we're here is to help you guys like learn how to set goals, because you're going to do this like forever, right? Like your whole life, you're going to be setting goals. So you can go to Casey and get with her if you have her information. You can also use the chat feature in Zoom. I know you're in Zoom right now. So you can like pop it in. You know, if we're going to go through a presentation, if by the end of this, or if you want a week, take a week, right? And then like you can join us next week and like pop it into the chat, or get with your coach, Casey, whoever, with Immerse, and let them know what your SMART goal is. But it has to meet all those criteria. So it needs to be very specific. You have to be able to measure it. It needs to be attainable to you. So it can't be like, I want to be Wonder Woman. Like I can't learn to lasso and fly. It has to be relevant. So you have to like care about it, and it has to be time-based. So you need to give yourself like, you know, within 6 weeks, by like July 1st, by the end of the year, you know, something like that.
Okay.
I am so happy that you're doing this with us.
I'm telling you, that incentive of $100, that's some crazy stuff. We're gonna get a lot of participation if we got $100 on the table.
Yeah, we're gonna make it rain at burgers from David's Burgers.
I was very excited. I do owe you a huge thank you, because when I got to my desk this morning, I had a gift card on there, and then I had gift cards for everyone else as well. So great. It's pretty awesome. Cool. Renika, if you're with us, still, I don't think she's on here, but she might be on the YouTube. We got your request, and they're working on it, so we hadn't forgotten about you.
Yeah, we got you. We got your gift card. We're working on it. We'll have it no later than next Tuesday, hopefully before then. We don't want you to wait that long. So maybe by Friday. That's my SMART goal. I will have Renika's Walmart gift card for $20 to Immerse by this Friday.
I love it. And hey, we got some good stuff happening in the chat on YouTube. So Glenda Watkins, who set a goal last week, she has accomplished that goal, by the way.
Yes.
I know that she did it. And tomorrow we're going to pick up a voucher. It's awesome. We got a housing voucher. That is some good stuff. But she said that she's got a different goal than last week.
Shut up.
So Glenda, if you want to type it in the chat, if you want to share, let us know, because I'm sure we'd love to get in on that.
Yes. Oh my God, Glenda, you are crushing it. That's awesome. So way to win $100 in like a hot minute. And then also I'm very excited to hear about your next goal. So yes, by Friday, I owe Glenda $100 and Renika $20.
Awesome. Awesome. I also do want to apologize. The city of Little Rock is outside my house digging up the yard. They're doing sewage stuff, so they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm grateful they're here, because without them, I might have sewage in my house or not running water, you know, I don't know. But if you do hear background noise when I have my mic off, I'm sorry about that. They are like 20 feet from the window. So
thank you for the heads up.
Just throw that out there. And my roommate's going to get home soon, so y'all might hear her too. But
There's stuff happening.
For sure.
Okay, so tonight we are talking about conflict resolution, and I know that everybody that has like tuned in tonight has conflict in their life. I have conflict in my life. I hate conflict. If you're anything like me, you don't like to talk about conflict or engage in conflict. I don't like to engage in conflict because I am worried about hurting someone's feelings. I don't like to engage in conflict because I'm worried about what the other person is going to think of me. And I might also avoid conflict because I don't want to rock the boat. You know, I think there's something, a lot of people feel pressured to keep everything fine. You know, everything's fine. We're all good. We've got harmony. And so I think a lot of people out there, me included, are afraid to be like, wait a minute, and speak their truth because they're worried about what that's going to mean for them or someone else. We're going to talk about conflict resolution tonight. Conflict is a good thing. So many people are afraid to get into conflict, and I just mentioned a couple of reasons why. But I think when people are afraid to get into conflict with someone else, a lot of the times it's for the illusion of harmony. It's basically to say like everything is fine. But there's some really good reasons why you should engage in conflict. And so one of those reasons is just like out of straight love, like your like self-love for you or for someone else. But there is nothing wrong for sticking up for yourself or for someone that you care about. That's actually a sign of great character. And that's absolutely a reason why you should engage in conflict. Also, if you need to give someone constructive feedback, I have a team of people that I manage. I have to give them constructive feedback. I don't like doing it every single time because sometimes they've worked really hard on something and I don't love it. And so I have to think of a kind and honest way of telling them, I recognize the work that you put into this and it's good. And it could be even better if you did this. So I think it just takes some language, you know, of saying like, hey, this is great. And I think it could be better if you did this. But to rob somebody of constructive feedback just because you don't want to upset them, I think that prevents them from growing personally, professionally. And so constructive feedback, I think, is a really good thing. Also, to make sure that all perspectives are heard. So you probably have heard of playing devil's advocate. I do this all the time, even if I don't necessarily agree with the other side. So if someone like gives me like an idea, in order to strengthen their idea and to like bulletproof their idea, I'll attack it with the other perspective. Even if I don't believe the other perspective, I want them to be prepared to overcome any resistance that they might have. So I think it's really good to always give every perspective and always think about every outcome when you're talking about a new idea at work, at home, wherever. It's also great when you want to, if you notice someone in your life, at work, at home, in your personal life, your friends, if they're doing something that's damaging to themselves or to others, it will be uncomfortable to speak up. You can't get around that. It's going to be uncomfortable for both of you, but you have to be able to do that out of love and kindness, because the alternative is that you never tell them and they do the bad thing, right? They hurt themselves or others. And that's so much worse than if you would have just spoken up and talked to them about it. You can also call someone out when they're acting against what's best for the group. So, you know, a lot of our presentations have been about work. So if someone is doing something selfishly that's against what's good for the organization or the work, then by all means speak up. If someone in this group is doing something that's against the greater good of Immerse and what you guys are doing, speak up, right? Because that's important to you. Or if they're not following through on their commitments, like say, hey, Linda could be like, hey, Lindsay, you told me that you're going to give me $100. Like, and like a month later, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been busy. Like she should call me out on that. But I'm going to get it to her this Friday. So no worries. But yeah, it's like you can totally call someone out when they don't follow through on their commitment. Okay, so we see a lot of different causes for conflict. Sometimes it's about misunderstanding. Maybe you just didn't communicate. You have different information. So one person thinks one thing, the other person has a different set of information. He said, she said, or someone just doesn't have all the information. That happens a lot, right? I know that happens to me. Like I just don't have like all the information, or someone else doesn't have like all the information. And so that creates misunderstanding and conflict. It could be that you have different values, right? Like I have a different belief system than someone else. You know, for example, one of my really good girlfriends, she's Muslim, I'm Catholic, and we are great friends. She's going through Ramadan right now, and I'm cheering her on. And that doesn't mean we can't get along just because we have different belief systems. It's just I don't impose my beliefs on her, and she doesn't impose her beliefs on me. We appreciate our differences and we respect each other. So conflict happens when someone imposes their beliefs on someone else. Or baggage. So baggage could be like a real thing, right? Like you've hurt me in the past. So like, I'm not going to trust you in the future. Or I've seen you hurt someone I care about, or I've seen you do whatever, and I'm not going to like trust you, or I don't like you anymore because I've seen you do something. Or it could be a rumor or a misconception. Like I've heard, like my friend told me that you like did this. Well, maybe I don't have all the stories. Like maybe it's just a misunderstanding or a misconception. So conflict can happen just because we think someone did something bad, or we think something bad about them, or it's because we have real history and they actually did hurt us. Conflict can also happen because we have competing interests. So like Glenda's about to make $100 and she might want to put that to like a new TV. Like she's been waiting for like a new big screen HD TV. But Glenda might have a roommate, and she might think her roommate would be like, no, like I think we should use that money for like a blender because we make smoothies for breakfast. I don't know, but it can be competing interests. So someone wants one thing and someone wants something different. And this usually happens when it's about time or money. Like when you have time with someone and you want to spend it one way, but they want to spend it a different way. And you might feel they might be prioritizing their own interest over your interest. Or you guys might have a shared like fund, like a money account, and they may want to spend money on one thing and you want to spend money on something different. Sorry, I've got to cancel the call. Okay. Another conflict could be the power imbalance. This happens at jobs all the time. It's where your boss might impose their power and control over you. So even if you don't believe in what they're saying or what they're asking of you, you may feel like you have to do it or you might lose your job. So people in the past, unfortunately, have a history of using their power, control their relationship over you to impose what they believe in. And that creates conflict because you don't agree with it, but you have to act a different way. And then y'all, sometimes it happens because we are stressed and burned out. Like they're like work, life, things just happen and we're tired and people come at us and we're like, I don't even know why I'm snapping at you right now, but like, I'm just not in a good mood. And we all have bad days. So we have to be able to recognize those bad days and be kind to ourselves. And then also be willing to call ourselves out on it. Like, hey, like, I just need to be by myself. I just need to be like, I just need a minute. And that's totally fine. But conflict happens. Like, have you ever been in a fight with someone and you're like, why are we even fighting? Like, I'm just in a bad mood. So that can be a crossroads. You just recognize that it's the stress. It's not the person. One of the greatest ways to overcome conflict is to attack the problem and not the person. And this is really important if the relationship matters more than the conflict. So if you have to live with this person, work with this person, be around this, if this is a friend, someone you care about, you're going to be in a relationship with this person, then that's more important than whatever problem is going on. And so when you attack the problem and not the person, it's actually very healing, because now it's no longer about you versus me. It's us versus the problem, right? Like we both want something. So how can we figure out how to like get what we both want and attack the problem and not each other? It's not about feelings. It's not about personal interest. It's about how we're going to overcome this problem. We talked about practicing active listening before, but just as a reminder, this is so important because it allows the other person to be heard. So practice listening is whenever you're listening, not to respond, but when you're listening to understand. And it's really hard to do this. Most people tend to, whenever they're listening to someone, they're already thinking about how they're going to respond, how they're going to like come back. And a lot of people will interrupt the other person because they want to say whatever. Well, no, you're not right. No, you're wrong. But it is so important that you listen to the other side and try to understand them before you respond back. That's going to keep it calm and keep the emotions out of it. Also, just as I don't have this in here, but as a side note, you may have been told to calm down, and you may have told someone else to calm down. The words calm down can be a trigger for a lot of people. It's a trigger for me. If someone tells me to calm down and I feel like I'm being calm, then my like natural instinct is to show them that like, I'll show you what not calm looks like. Like, this is calm. And now that you've told me to calm down, I'm going to show you the difference between calm and not calm. So it's like and some people think that they're doing like a good thing. Like, it's okay, calm down. But remember, like that could be a trigger for someone. Or like, it's okay. Like, try not to pacify someone's feeling. Like, don't like try to make someone else feel something they don't feel. Acknowledge what they're feeling and try to understand what they're feeling. Because if you try to like push it to the side, that can oftentimes make it a lot worse. Okay, one of the biggest things you can do is to not let it sit. Problems do not get better with time. This is not wine. It doesn't get better with time. Problems usually get worse with time. The longer it goes unresolved, the longer people have to think about how right they are and how mad they are. And then they start to make more assumptions and to justify their feelings and their actions. Whereas if you resolve a problem, you kind of nip that in the bud. You prevent people from making assumptions and from like getting all worked up about their emotions. Like, you get right to it. So if someone comes at you and they're upset, the best thing for you to do is to address it as soon as you can and not like shy away from it. If you shy away from it, that tells them that you don't care, you're trying to hide something, or it gives them time to come up with their own reasoning and justification. It's also really good to solve conflict face to face. Do not try to work out an argument over text. It's so hard. It's so hard. Or like DMs or whatever. Anything on text opens too much room for interpretation. I might send Casey a text and she could interpret it completely different. Like, I could be like, what are you doing right now? And she could take that as like, Casey, stop being lazy. Like, you're supposed to have to like be helping me. And I just meant it like, hey, what are you up to? So like, don't try to, there's just you can't convey your body language. You can't convey tone. She can't see my face. She can't see my smile. You can't apologize. Like, an apology over text is not nearly as personal as you calling someone or seeing them face to face. When you see someone face to face, there's several things that are going to happen. One, you're going to be more honest. You can't lie and get around something when you're looking someone in the eye. You're looking at someone in the eye, you're going to be honest with them. You're looking at someone in the eye, you're probably going to be kind and respectful to them. If you're texting, then there's not as much of a like ramification, right? They can't like come and like snap back at you. They're not right there in person. It's just a text that you're going to get back. But if you're looking at them in the eye, you have to face whatever consequence you're going to like that comes from your words, right? So like you say something and you're going to have to deal with that. It's going to hold you accountable for being honest, respectful, and kind. But most importantly, when you meet face to face, you can connect with someone. You can look in their eyes. You can see their facial expressions. You can respond right away. Like if I say like, Casey, what are you doing? And she like gives me this look, I can be like, no, like what are you up to right now? Like, what are you looking at? And we can resolve that immediately instead of it being a miscommunication. If you can't see someone face to face, pick up the phone and call them. Pick up the phone and call them. If you try to text them and be like, hey, just, whatever, again, that doesn't show them that you care. And that's too much room for interpretation. Pick up the phone, call them, and that way you can respond right away when they say something. If you think it's going to be heated, or if you're concerned about your safety, which is a legitimate concern in some cases, if you're worried that someone is going to overreact, if you're worried about yourself, like if you worry about you controlling your emotions, maybe you're going to get angry, then try to meet in a public place. It doesn't have to be a restaurant. You don't have to go have lunch or coffee. Go meet at a park. You could stay in your car. That's fine. But there's something about other eyes being on you that keeps you in check, that helps you regulate your words and regulate your emotions. So try to pick a place where other eyes are going to be on you. And it's also good to pick a place that's neutral. So if I go to their place, or they go to my place, or I go to the workplace, whatever, it's not like fair, right? Because it might be someone else's turf. And that might be uncomfortable. They might have like the advantage, the home advantage. So try to pick a neutral public place if you think it's going to be emotional or unsafe. One of the best things you can do if you need to de-escalate, and this is great for customer service. Like if you work in a restaurant, retail, whatever, you have a customer that's mad, just apologize. Like a lot of people, they'll be fine if you just like apologize to them, but it has to be real. It can't be a fake apology. Like genuinely apologize to them. But even better than that is you can really quickly disarm someone by identifying and acknowledging their perspective. So you could say something like, you're probably thinking that I did this because, or that I said this because. And if you can show that you've at least thought about the other person's perspective and how they're feeling, then they're immediately set back. It's like, oh, you see me, like, oh, you understand me. Okay, like I thought I was gonna have to like come at you and tell you like what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, but no, you get it. So if you can really quickly disarm someone just by saying like, hey, you're probably like thinking or feeling or wondering this, let's talk about that. And then you can get to like whatever your perspective is. There's going to be a couple of instances where you might have conflict with someone and you're not really sure why. And maybe this hasn't happened to you yet, but there might be someone where you just didn't click when you met them, and there might just be like some weird tension, or you just like you heard something about, you just don't like them, like for whatever reason. There's a couple of things you can do to get over that if you want to. If you want to get over that and like, I know I don't like this person, but I don't know why. There's a couple things. One of the things you can do is give them a gift. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be fancy. It could be a cupcake. It could be a flower from a garden, or some nice gesture. But the psychological effect is that you wouldn't do something nice for someone that you don't like. So it's almost like tricking yourself into thinking like, okay, I don't like this person. I really don't know why. I don't have a reason. I just don't like them. I'm going to do something nice for them. And then they're like, oh, she did something nice. And now you found that person feels good. And you feel good because you've done something nice for someone else. And they appreciate it. And now they want to reciprocate. They want to do something nice for you. And now you've been able to get over whatever like weirdness that you had for probably no reason. The other thing you can do, and this is, this probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does work, is that if someone doesn't like you, and that, yes, I shouldn't say you are, if someone doesn't like you, or if you just generally want to like work on a relationship, then you ask that person for their advice. So you'd be like, hey, I'm thinking about working at Waffle House. But I don't know if I should. Or I actually have a friend and she's thinking about working in Easy Mart. And she came to me last week and she's like, hey, should I hold out for a better job or should I take it? And there's something about when someone comes to you and asks you for advice, you're like, oh, like she cares about me and what I think, and I like her. And it's just like you get like these good vibes going back and forth. And all you have, and you don't, and maybe you don't even like want to act on their advice. Maybe you don't use their advice. You might, right? You might like what they have to say. You never know. But even if you have no intention of following through on whatever advice they give you, there's something just really significant about when you ask for someone else's advice about something that's going on in your life and you get their opinion. And that helps to build your relationship. I know it doesn't make sense, but it works, I promise. So those are my tips. Oh, this is also really good, by the way, before we finish. Ask for advice. But also one thing I wanted to go back to was, there was one in here. Yes, this one. Okay, so this one was about the apology. One thing I forgot to say is if for some of you that go on job interviews, this is actually really good. So if you don't have enough experience, so let's say like you were like going after like a server job and you don't have any restaurant experience, you could say something like, I know you're probably thinking that I don't have enough experience, but I'm a really hard worker and I'm willing to learn those skills. Or I know you're thinking that I've never had like a job before. This is my first job, but if you take a chance on me, then I won't let you down. So this is just another way of saying like, you're probably thinking this, you're disarming them and you're also acknowledging what they might be thinking. And then you're also allowing yourself the opportunity to explain like why you would be good or why they might be wrong. That's just like another trick to think about as you're doing like job interviews and stuff. All right, that's it. That's conflict resolution. I think that the most important thing that we can take away would be to attack the problem and not the person. Because again, when you attack the person, it's you against me. You attack the problem, it's us against the problem. That's it. Any questions from anyone?
Yes, that's awesome advice. I love that. I forget about that. I think that is super helpful to, go after the problem, not really the person. I think that's good. I wanted to share a SMART goal that I just got from Miss Shay. If you don't mind, Shay, I'll go ahead and share. Excuse me.
Yes, that's fine.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so her SMART goal is kind of similar to mine, so I like it. When I get my new apartment, to get it furnished, she wants to give 3 months to do that. And she also listed some specific furniture she was looking for. Let me go find it. Yeah, desk, dresser, other essentials. So based on what I can see, it is specific, it's measurable, and it's time-based. And it's attainable and relevant. So I wanted to run that by you, Lindsay. Then we got another
awesome
SMART goal in the house.
Yeah, so Shay, do you know when you're going to get your new apartment yet?
Should move in within the next few days, most likely tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to say, let's just do May 1st. So by July 1st, you'll have these items that you sent. Casey, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Shay, where do you want your gift card to?
My $20 one to Amazon.
Okay. So I will check in with you July 1st. And if you're not here, then I'll ask Casey to work on my behalf. But hopefully we can be in touch and we'll know how your progress is going. If you get those things before July 1st, then yeah, of course you'll get your $100 before then. But yeah, I'm excited for you. Getting a new place is really exciting, and then to make it into your home feels great. So I'm really happy for you. And Amazon, hopefully that'll get you some of what you're looking for, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Very cool. We had some good discussion in the chat. I shared personally why sometimes I think conflict can happen in my life, and that's because if I don't know someone super well, I typically will assume things about them when I don't know everything. So I think that starts some conflicts for me in my life. And we had some other people share different values can create conflict. And someone also said that sometimes I don't like to look people in the eye, so people don't think I'm listening whenever I'm with them when I really am. I just don't like to look people in the eye sometimes for different reasons. So we had a good discussion about how conflict can happen. I love the idea of normalizing conflict a little bit, because I kind of grew up to where if conflict was happening, something was really wrong and it was really bad. But actually, in reality, conflict is just what happens when people are with other people. It just is a part of life. So normalizing it, I think, can help a lot. But yeah, any questions or comments, anyone?
So yeah, is the conflict just for, sorry.
Okay.
Is the conflict just for somebody else? So what about if you have conflict within yourself or conflict with boundaries, with saying no to certain people?
Yeah. Yeah. So conflict within yourself, what we talked about really has to do with conflict with other people, but conflict within yourself, I think all of us have an intuitive reaction that's you have your brain, your logic side, and the brain is great because it kind of gets you through your reasoning. The brain can feel you because you can start to overanalyze a situation. And the heart is really good because it's what you're passionate about and love and what you love. The heart can lead you astray because sometimes you get too attached or too emotionally connected to something, and it can blur your perspective. And so that's why I always say, if you have conflict within yourself, you've got this fight between your brain and your heart, go to your gut. The gut is kind of your intuitive first reaction to something. It's how you don't know why you feel it, but you just do. You don't know why you want to do it, but you just do. And that's an instinct, a survival instinct in all of us. And so I think if you're having that internal conflict, there's always time to change your mind. You always have time to change your mind. So don't ever feel like you have to rush into anything. And then always stick with your gut, because you can't overanalyze your gut or overcomplicate it with emotion.
Yeah, internal conflict is stuff. Oh, I think I cut you off, Shay. I'm sorry. Try again. I'll be quiet this time.
Hey, you're good, Kate. So what about it's you have boundaries, being able to stand up for yourself or saying no when needed in conflict? So what should you do then? If you have troubles with boundaries, not boundaries overstepping boundaries, but boundaries with allowing yourself space and being able to say no.
Yes, that's a big one. And I thought about talking about that tonight. So I'm glad you brought that up. Everybody handles conflict differently. And I know there's people in my life where when we're in conflict, they want to be in it and they don't want to go anywhere until it's resolved. They will chase me down to work out the conflict. Personally, I need boundaries. Like I need space. I like alone time. I want to think about it. I need to process. I need to calm down for like 20 minutes and then I'm good. So I think if you're having trouble with that, just being very clear of like, I know you want to talk about this right now, or I know you, or give them a time, like check back within me like in a day, or give me an hour to like think about this, or like I'm gonna go by myself for like 20 minutes and I'll let you know like when I'm good. And I think usually putting a time on it or letting the other person know like this is my boundary, but it's only gonna last this long, or it's going to last until this happens, that helps them accept it. Because when people think that you have a boundary, but it's just like indefinite, right? Like you just cut them off, then they're likely to like respond and overreact. But if you're like, hey, give me this amount of time and then like we'll see what happens, usually they can accept that more easily. Does that help?
Yes. So it's not rude to ask for time.
Oh God, no, I do this all the time. I do this all the time at work, in my home life. Like, hey, can I just take 20 minutes? I just need to like clear my head a little bit, or I just need to like think about this. You can do that at work, no problem. But that is professional. That is so much more professional than you being forced in a conversation that you don't want to have. Or if you're in a personal situation, you have a friend or someone close to you that's like trying to get you to like work it out. I need space right now. Like I need space right now. Give me the rest of the night. Give me the rest of the day. I'll check back with you in the morning and I'll let you know if I'm ready. And it is, you take as much time as you need because we all process things differently and in different times.
I agree with what you say because like if I'm in a conflict and somebody like expects an answer right there and I don't know what to do and I give them an answer and then afterwards I feel like guilty or not right with the decision I made, I'm like, well, I needed time. And then, or if they get upset because I gave them the answer they don't want, and I'll be like, well, you didn't give me the time to properly take time to take myself and sit with my thoughts and emotions and be able to rationalize everything to make the correct decision towards the conflict.
Yeah, no, and what you could even say, and for those times, is if I have to give you an answer right now, you're not going to like it. But if you give me some time, then we might come to an understanding. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll give you time.
Sorry, I was just like wondering all of that.
No, I'm so glad you asked. Because I even thought about bringing it up. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, that's a good tip that I forget about too. If you need time to process, time to cool off, just time to get a grip about what's going on around you, it's great to just take a breather. Lindsay's right. It's much better than to force yourself to be in the moment and maybe do or say something you'd regret later, you know, because I know that can happen to me. So taking a moment to step away for a bit and think is really good. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's why for me, like whenever I first get in, even just like a regular friendship or something like that, or with a new therapist, I'll say, these are the set boundaries I have. If we have a conflict, I need this amount of time to be able to process, to do this certain thing, so I can come back to you efficiently and respectively and give you the answers that you may be looking for or the answers that you are needing in order to pursue in the rest of this conflict and recovery.
Yeah, exactly. No, you are totally within reason, and people that respect you will give you that space and time.
Absolutely. Well, the only other thing in the chat, I opened it up for some questions, comments here at the end. We got some comments about the cat making an appearance, so love that. Yeah, I was gonna point that out as well. We love when the cat joins in. But yeah, that might be all for tonight. I'll do one last call, comments or questions before we wrap up. while you guys are thinking, I want to do another announcement, a reminder about Work Hard, Play Harder, which is our trip to Branson that we're going to be taking in August for all of you guys that work 20 hours a week during the months of May, June, and July. So if you're working part-time or full-time, you just got to get 240 hours in the course of 3 months. And as long as you're able to prove that with like a pay stub or a letter from your manager on a weekly basis, okay? Because you can't, on July 30th, give us a letter saying, I worked 240 hours all 3 months. Can't do that. We got to have it on a week by week basis, right? So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys are working, that could be a great opportunity. Talk to your coach if you want some more info, but that's pretty much it. Those are the details. But yeah, that is all I've got. Lindsay, anything to close us out?
Well, next week I will not be here. Josh will be here.
All right.
Yeah, so it's my birthday next week.
Oh, happy early birthday!
So I will be celebrating my birthday. But Josh will be here. He's going to fill in for me and talking about negotiation skills.
Love that.
So you totally want to tune in for this. He's really good at negotiations. He's got some really good tips. So next Tuesday at 5, if you want to negotiate your salary, your boundaries, any like buying a car, getting an apartment, whatever, like you definitely want winning an argument, tune in next week and he will give you some really good tips.
I love that. That's going to be great for me. I don't know a whole lot about negotiations, so catch me tuning in as I do every week, but still, I'll be especially excited about that one. Okay. So those of you that joined us, glad I got to see you guys. I hope before the end of this year, we can be in person again. We don't know. We're kind of taking it month by month, day by day sometimes. But I hope you guys stay safe. If you need anything, you know who to call. And with that, I will go ahead and close this out. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will catch you guys here at Live at 5 on Tuesday next week. Bye, everyone.